Hey, Critical Review is here. You get the first person award. How we doing? How was your day today? I'm off screen looking for a reference for something. I'll never find it. 1,000 pages. Um, what's going on? Well, I guess that's a no-go. Just have to wing it. Hello to Craig the Man. Welcome back. Got a little superhero action going on today. It was good, cold, hey, okay. It's kind of warming up here, but I guess we got a big snowstorm coming in, so it's one of those days. But yeah, hoping sometime end of February, I'll have Dennis Wise on. Will video stream. How you doing, Kent? Hey, CG. Good to see you guys. I'm a little fatigued. I'm a little tired, but you know me. I just keep pushing along. Try to stay positive in spite of whatever may come. So Dennis Wise, how are you doing? Let's see. I mean, my aunt passed away very recently, and so there's my family's grieving right now with that. So it's kind of a sad time right now, but I'm generally okay. I got a couple projects going on the side, and I can't say names and whatnot, but there's some drama going on with one of the people in one of the projects that is very, very childish and egocentric and unnecessary, and I'm kind of hoping that bullshit passes away. And it's like, when you're like grieving somebody's death and then you see somebody acting like a child and an idiot and being selfish and temper tantrum and stuff, you don't have any kind of patience for that type of behavior. That's just like, it's just like, nah, not gonna do it. But I'm not terribly worried about it. There is a sort of a stage or a mindset that one has to have where you're like, this is taking too much mental energy from me, and I'm not gonna allow that. I have to kind of pull out a little bit and let it take its course. One of my biggest faults, I guess, is that I really have no patience for assholes and stupid people. And as we all know, the world is filled with them. so it's like, it's like, okay, here's a good thing. And then they come along and fuck it up. And I'm like, why? Why does it always have to be like this? There's always some douchebag that's gotta like take a big shit on everything. And I don't know. It's a weird world out there. People are stupid. I'm sure you've all had some kind of experience like that on your job or in your family or somewhere. I don't know. So I'm kind of at a place where I'm just in a sort of a let it go phase. But it did stress me out quite a lot lately. So I'm a little on the like burned out side. Craig the man's back. How we doing? You're driving. Okay. Hi, Craig. Let's see. What's anything here? Condolences. Thank you. Sorry to hear that. Yeah. Oh, that. Yes. Hello. Da 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 dee. So we're wrapping up this page here, and we're going to be moving on to the next page very shortly. we did not meet our Christmas deadline, as you can tell. I'm kind of disappointed about that. But again, it's one of those, we live in a world, we live in a society memes where it's like, you know, you can't make things happen. You have to just kind of do your best, go with the flow, and it is what it is kind of deal. So outside of that, I don't think there's much more I can say. But on the good side, and this would be more appropriate to talk about on this show. I'm doing a presentation at the Nationalist Media Conference in May. And this is how long have they been around? I don't know, a couple of years. They're associated with novanow.org. I would expect you guys to know novanow.org. It's similar to White Lives Matter. They do sticker campaigns. They do conferences, IRL conferences. It's kind of like a little bit of AmRen, a little bit of NJP, a little bit of Patriot Front kind of mixed together. I don't know that they do marches. I don't think they do marches. There's a topic actually right there. I want to comment on Joel Davis. We talked about that in another stream. Maybe I won't talk about that. Okay, let's back up a bit. So, media conference. My concept for that is an Imperium art curriculum. So to write, design, and teach an online course in ethno-nationalist art. So that, and it'd be a paid course. It would take a long time to get all the video and all the shit, put together and then uploaded. There's a site called Udemy. It's like University Academy Online, something or other. People pay for courses. And so it would take some time to get that all the media for that together. But the idea is to put an online art curriculum up there that I'll have video, but I'll also have meet like one-on-one or meetings or whatever, like over the internet or the phone, or I don't fucking know. I'll figure that out. But it's a paid course, and the idea is that it's really an assault on the art establishment, on art education, art galleries, art grants, art museums that are completely overwhelmed with like far left radicals, feminists, gays, POCs. I was reading, somebody recently posted like an application for an art grant, and it's like this Hispanic guy, and all the verbiage in his application was just leftist gobbledygook bullshit, about diversity, pure vapor, like literal vapor. And let's give him the money. Okay, and so he got a couple $1,000s to do his little stupid art exhibit, And to me, that's disgusting beyond belief. It makes me furious because I'm out here, I could use money, but if I'm like, I would like to make an art show, expressing the experience of white people in the age of white genocide, and establish values in like tradition and blah 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 blah, then they'd like shit on me. They would like just no, fuck off. You're a white man. That's kind of how that is. So it's a type of war. It's like our struggle has many battlefields. It has many battlefields. You've got the classroom, you've got the library, you've got the university, you've got, you know, dating relations, you've got the internet, you've got immigration. There's so many battlefields, you know, in which we're struggling. And the arts is one, it's my niche, but it's also something that I'm on kind of a mission to get people to care about it more. And I don't blame people for not caring about art because the left alienated everybody. They're like, oh, let's tape a banana to a wall and charge $10,000 for it. Ha ha, we're so radical. You know, nothing will make people think that art is for idiots and shitheads than doing stuff like that, you know? Let's read some chat, folks. We're gonna read them, chat them. Are you ready? Let's see who's here. Critical review. Hi, Craig. Victorian time traveler. Yay! Good to see you. Hey, man, just stopping by. Hello. Very cool. Never heard of them. Sounds exciting. Craig says, starting drawing a little good. You inspired me. Plus, my friend got into anime with Berserk. Nice. Berserk's fairly popular. Maybe Critical says maybe start one of those for white students so they can get grants. So yeah, I can't say everything that I'm doing, but like all of that stuff is kind of in the mix, you know. Working with some people on fundraising for the arts. That's the most vague thing I can say, but that is what I can say. So we're starting a new page. Lucky you get to see me start a new page. I do have to open the window and get a little cool air in here, so give me 10 seconds and you can think of questions. Okay. So, yeah, there you go. Maybe start one. Yeah. So, I've pretty much started a brand. You know, I coined the term Imperium Art to basically. I mean, it would sound weird calling it white art. You know, that's just weird. You know, whereas you know they look at the book Imperium by Francis Parker Yockey, and then you start to get the idea about, you know, a kind of a, I don't know what to call, white racial consciousness. And I was just listening to an interview that I did of Joel Davis, since like Joel Davis is in the news right now, and it's a really long discussion in the Imperium Art playlist on YouTube, my YouTube. And he goes really deep on the importance of spirituality in art and how just being white is not enough to bring us together. That's his view, his opinion. That he's saying that we need to be brought together on a spiritual basis, like something that binds us together spiritually. And I'm like, wow, you know, so obviously, you know, the first thing that people might think is religion. And I'm not, you know, that's not what I'm going to be doing. I'm not, you know, like a religious leader. So yeah, it just brings up lots of ideas about, well, what can bring us together. Joel even added things like, you know, we've got allies that are not white too. There's people of color, there's biracial people that are our allies, and that we should have space for them in the movement as well. And I agree with that. So maybe the theme of Imperium art should be kind of more focused on, let's say, preserving Western civilization. Because that's now that's not really like, oh, let's all preserve Western civilization. It's not something people are really going to feel passionate about. I don't think. You know what I'm saying? Like people are passionate about their, like their religion, their football teams. You know, you understand what I'm saying. So that's kind of a tough question. That remains to be seen how that could play out or not. But I think it's very, very clear that the arts have been totally usurped. They've been completely watered down. Most people don't care about the arts because they consider them sort of for gays, for feminists, for like crafty shit for women and like vendor fairs, and they don't understand art at all. That it has no role in their daily lives. Not the way that it did in the past. Now, granted, there's issues in terms of like, okay, we're in a media generation, everything's digital, blah blah blah, all that stuff. I'm not against any of that, but there are traditions, and there are Western traditions, and more than that, there's themes. So this would be within an ideological framework. So try to imagine an art curriculum with a third position ethno-nationalist ideological framework. Because when you're taught art today, it's all about diversity. It's all about giving voice to minorities and the people who don't have power. And it's anti-colonialism, it's anti-white, all of it is. All of it is. So this would be pro-white, it would be explicitly pro-white, but not limited to that, and definitely, not in a campy cliche kitsch kind of way. That would you'd be embarrassing yourself if you did that. So it's really hard to explain all this. This is all in my head, and it's very deep, and so I can't just say blah 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 blah, and then you understand. It literally be like a college course. It would take a long time to get through. It would take a lot of investment of time, money, energy, effort. And in the end, we will be producing an army of artists who are now a cultural force for now and the future. Because if you want to take back the arts, then we got to take back the arts. And I'm the guy that is best positioned to do that with my education, etc. Let's read some chat. Oh, there's not much chat. Okay, maybe it says, Craig says, I disagree with what you say is unrealistic. Tell me specifically what I said, because I said a lot, and I need you to pinpoint exactly which thing you disagreed with. I'm completely okay with just, people disagreeing with me and wanting to have a conversation about stuff, Unlike other people I know who are totally immature and cannot have an adult conversation, I am fully capable of doing that. So let's zoom in here. The Japanese arts seem to be more based and have more sympathy for Western kind than what is allowed in Western arts. Okay, so I can easily somewhat agree with that, in the sense that, like, I lived in Japan, for starters, so I studied traditional Japanese painting, theater, and literature. So I literally have an education on this topic. I'm not like an anime manga guy, so I don't partake very much in that kind of media. It's not arguable that they are what they are. They're more ethnically homogenous than we are. They've not been destroyed by Jewish infiltration. Um, Although the Jews are now pushing in on Japan and trying to fuck it up with forced immigration, and they got a lot of problems now. But the other thing that's fascinating about this is how much the Japanese love us. They have a love affair with Western culture. They that's it's a whole thing, you know. So I'm not sure where the disagreement is, though. Let's go back and try to figure this out. An army of artists to take back the arts. I like that. I suppose I'm technically part of it. You've seen a few pieces I've posted on your Telegram. Yes. Yeah, I mean, we're all, you know, we have the resources, we have the people, we have the will, we have the spirit, but we don't have a manifesto, we don't have any guideposts, we don't have any leadership. You see what I'm saying? And that's kind of what I'm proposing, to be honest, is to come out front and do that. And people can take it or leave it. They can love it or hate it. They can live it or reject it, and that's their choice. But without anybody recognizing that, you know, the arts have been weaponized against us now by the you know who's, and you know, especially in film, and but much farther than that, somebody's got to stand up and take it back. Somebody's got to reverse this, you know. And you know, I'm not against somebody else doing it. It's just that I don't know anybody else who has the background or the wherewithal to do that. And I think it's a significant endeavor. I think it's a meaningful and significant endeavor. So there you go, and now you know. Take that to the bank. All right, let me get this kind of hooked up here. Alrighty. Let's read on. Artists take back this. A lot of Japanese anime inspired by Western kind. Yes. Okay. As far as their stories and characters, I think you have a great idea, Donald, and I think it'll do well. I hope so. My statement about the Japanese was a separate statement. Okay, sorry. Hello to Flash Gorgon. Chadilet. Chadilet. How do you say that with a French accent? Chadilet. Sorry, I'm making an ass of myself once again. Love you guys. Thank you for coming and hanging out with me. This would be so boring without you. Let's read on. Hold your horses here. We can show that. I don't know why YouTube is hiding that. Hello. Sorry, I've just got to read here. Craig says even the abnormies usually are against white erasure when it's intentional and when I talk to them. The few who disagree expose themselves, spaz out, get in the defensive. Yes, rather end up agreeing with me. In the end, may it be out of peer pressure or genuinely, or they run away. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, there's still a big problem with anti-whites, you know, as you call them, people that have been indoctrinated to hate whites, you know. And there's still very, very, very many people. I mean, the entire agenda of the left is precisely that. You know, it's white erasure. It's funny how like they police us into not talking about race, but all they do is talk about race. You know, everything they're about is somehow about race, and it's obviously our race, right? But whites can't talk about, you know, their own interests. No. No. We didn't say you could do that. No, 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 no. Anyway, that stuff's a little old, though. I mean, it's not old in the sense that it's still a problem and it needs addressing and whatnot. But I think there's plenty of other people talking about that. So there you go. And now you know. So this guy is meant to be Vladimir Putin in a bear suit with like Wolverine claws. Just putting it out there, like these are not my characters. I designed them, but I did not conceive them. So when you finally read the book, you'll see the connections between these things. You just got to read it though. Like this character is Trump up here. He's like God Emperor. That's the name of the character. So it's a bit of a play on these things. Oh, what do we got? Hello from Nevea. Nevea, welcome back, Nevea. If anything is allowed, do us a favor. Anything the ones who. Okay. I have been getting into Berserk manga too. It's way crazier than the show. Haha. I can see why the full story wasn't aired on the show. Well, tell us about Berserk. I mean, I know it's a manga. I know it's basically violent. But like, give us a lowdown. Like, what's it about? Why do you like it? Why should we read it? Kind of give us a little preview. So yeah, I'm at a kind of a crossroads. I got some big events going on in life, and with the recent death in the family and stuff, things have just been a lot of stuff is just kind of converging all at the same time. I was sick last week, and I'm feeling better now, thank God. But when you're sick, it really, really. I think sometimes I get sick because I'm overwhelmed. Like there's just too many things going on in my life, and then my immune system sort of decides to shut down or something. I guess that's my theory. Anyway, so you just you try to sit back and start from square one, start over again and again and again. This music's kind of creepy. I think I might have to change this in a second here. Yeah. All right, give me a second. You can look at. Well, you can look at this, dude. Be right back. Putting some music on. Hold on. Let's go. Okay. You like that? Let's read some comments. What do we got? Wow, we got a lot of comments. I've been getting Berserk manga, full story. Wait, what? I'm sorry. Yeah, I know. I don't want to talk about death though, so we're not gonna do that tonight. I've never read any manga, but heard Berserk is good. I have some projects of my own. Craig says, getting back into political action. I won't talk about it. Federal political is a little harder than local. Wow, that's heavy. Cool. Guts has found in a battlefield lover of a warrior. The woman was found and died plague. Something like that. Okay, bye bye. See you later. FA got turned off by that. Okay. Anyway, back to work. I feel like manga is like a generational thing. People under a certain age just kind of grew up with it and they're just really into it, and that's what it is. I don't, because people my age and older and just like generally around my age are not, we didn't grow up with it. We don't hate it, but it's just not part of our world, and there it is. There you go. I kind of have a tiny, what's the word I was looking for? Like, there's something that does annoy me a little bit about it, which is that people tend to have this idea that everything and anything from Japan is just automatically good or exotic or better or something, rather than having any sense of discernment. I mean, if that's your taste, that's your taste. That's fine. But there's so much going on in our culture. We got lots of amazing comics and movies and whatnot that I don't know. It's like there's people that only look at manga. You know what I mean? And they won't look at anything else. And I'm like, well, see, now you're being a creep. Like, go to a comic book shop and check out anything from anybody, who's like in America, and see what you find out. There's lots and lots of great stuff. It's just a thing that I've noticed among people who are really into manga is they have a kind of a weird bias, like an extremely closed-mindedness about it. Like, I only read manga. And I'm like, okay, that's like saying I only eat at McDonald's. It literally is, and it's stupid and creepy, and you're cheating yourself and making yourself look like an idiot. It's just I don't know what to tell you, but like I've encountered that a lot because I'm an art teacher, and when you're an art teacher, everyone's like, "Oh, look at what I drew," and then it's just some cheesy manga drawing that any freaking monkey could draw, and they expect me to fall over backwards like, "Oh my God, you're amazing! You're amazing!" No, that's just a little trick where you put a couple circles and dots and lines together, and then bingo, you made a hamburger. You made it's the same recipe over and over and over and over and over and over and same. And I'm like, why, So I've crushed a lot of people's egos by saying like what I have to say about it, which is generally like, move on, don't be stuck in this world. A lot of young art students, they get in this kind of mentality of like, well, my friends compliment me. They say I'm a great artist because I can draw one manga character over and over and over. You're such a great artist. And I'm like, you're not an artist for starters. And learn how to draw and learn something about art history. And they just shut down. They fucking hate that because their little egos don't like that at all. It's kind of like if you could play one song on guitar and and everyone's like, "Oh, you're a great guitar player." It's like, no, whatever. Anyway, it's actually not the easiest thing to teach art. Believe me, especially you know to people that don't want to learn it, or don't care about it. It's not an easy thing to do. Let's see. let's try to see if there's anybody other than Craig on the chat here. This is me. Yeah, and I mean, I'm not, again, like we all have our tastes, and you can have your tastes, but I think the problem really is that, like, as an art teacher, you just get the same shit thrown in your face, like year after year, and after enough of that, you're gonna start getting biased. You're gonna start kind of hating manga because it's the same shit every year. You're like, oh gosh, can you get out of this, please? And whatever, there it is, and there you go. In a sense, that might be something I might want to address in the Imperium art curriculum, is this type of, the younger generations being, what's the word I'm looking for, like hypnotized by Japanese comics and cartoons, that there's this false sense of like, this is exotic and therefore it's better. And again, it's like you can have sushi, once a week or something, or once in a while, and enjoy it. I do, but not at the sacrifice of your own culture. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. Mm. Yeah, the sexual stuff about anime is a whole other dimension of like the Japanese culture, and definitely definitely some weird shit there for sure. I was shocked at how normalized prostitution is in Asia, both in Japan and Taiwan. It's all over. It's Thailand, China, where it's just baked into society. Um, you know, you're riding your bike to go teach English to kids in a bushiban, and then right next door is a whorehouse. So it's like, and they don't hide it. It's just a part of life. Here we are. Not something I'm gonna go into in a big conversation about on this show, but yeah, there it is. I need to redraw something here. It's not right. This kind of has to be out a bit more. What's going on with Jason Kuna's shows? I haven't watched one of his shows in a long, long time. What's he up to these days? Craig, I think you follow his content. There we go. Let's see. try. We've been having more success with going free. Good. Well, that's good to hear. The going free method. What do you think of Nick Fuentes? Let's weigh in on that. Whoever's still around. Many famous YouTubers have been picking up on the white positive narrative, and also politicians. I see that, and that is wonderful. I remember a time when I came into this movement, it was, how do I say, like, we never ever thought that we would have come this far. Like, what we were doing was forbidden. It was totally off the radar of like everybody. You couldn't talk about white identity, white racial consciousness, and anything. And it almost felt like, wow, we're never going to get anywhere. People are so scared about this, so brainwashed. It's so awkward, but it's really come a long way. I mean, Elon Musk is saying shit. Trump is saying stuff. It's gone mainstream, which is really wonderful. I think the situation with ICE and all of the arrests that they're doing and how the left is sort of retard maxing about it is a real demonstration of how our values have come into the mainstream. And that's pretty powerful stuff. Let's see. Craig says, not to mention Jason has now been tracking and celebrating views, likes, and shares of comments. Okay. Well, all right. One of the guys got smacked in the face and did nothing. Well, that is totally out of context, so I have no idea exactly what to say about that. Guy is one of what guys? One of our guys? One of the left? Why did he get smacked? What was? It's too vague. Hello to Rexus. Hey Rexus, what's going on, man? How's your writing coming along? What are you up to today? What did you do today? Share some stories with us. We are at the Rexus Nexus. Alexis says nothing much, just postponed my review of Turok to make a video on someone who's proven to be a real backstabber. Yikes. Wow. It's funny because I at the beginning of the show I was talking about some drama that I had with somebody without naming names. And it's pretty fucked up out there. Like, people do some really dumb shit. You know, they do some really, really selfish, stupid shit. And in this particular case, I feel like this person is, well, how I would call it is that they have a power deficit. And instead of kind of growing up and improving themselves, they basically, how do I put this? They kind of create drama for others. And it's sort of like, I want power, but I don't have the talent, leadership, or personality to be able to handle the power that I want. And as such, whatever I'm involved in, I fuck it up. You know, I fuck it up for everybody. And so that's the scenario of the situation I'm in. A little, it's just I can't get into too many details on that situation. But I guess the lesson, in a sense, is that in life, you're gonna have these kind of power struggles. You're gonna meet people that, you know, if it's business, I don't know, any fucking thing. You're gonna, whenever you have to work with other people, you got to read the room, and you know, you have to be very selective about the kind of people that you work with, who you trust. And I knew this guy. I've known this guy for a long time, and I kind of got pulled into this project with him, knowing the kind of person that he is. But I thought, you know, I'll give him a fair shot, and you know, try not to be judgmental and just sort of let the past go, and maybe this will work out. You know, well, no, well, no. So now shit is like super fucked up, and the whole project might go down the tubes because of it. Yep, with this person, he's a thin-skinned liar. He lied about a former friend of his over a joke, and he insulted and blocked me in my worldview. So it's just a weird thing how, like, people think that they're more than what they really are, and they lack self-awareness. They don't know that they're immature and they have, you know, growing up to do. And I'll point the finger at myself and say that, you know, when I was younger, I did shit like that. I did stupid shit. And, you know, it wasn't until like a best friend of mine came out and said, you know, when you said that thing or you did that thing, that was really shitty. And like, I don't know if I really want to be friends with you. And that slapped me so hard in the face. It made me realize, like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, what did I say? How am I acting? What's going on here? You know, and then I became self-aware. And then with that, I started growing, you know, and you don't just blurt out any fucking thing that pops into your mouth, into your head, rather. And a lot of times it's that dynamic of, sort of power structures of relationships and teams and things of this nature. You kind of have to be your own sovereign emperor. You know, you're just the emperor of yourself. You know, and you don't need validation from other people. And I think that's kind of what this particular guy was doing. Is he wanted all the glory without any of the work. And anybody who stood up to him and said, you know, nicely, you know, as nice as we could say, like this isn't working out, and or your behavior is really unacceptable, then like he melt down like a little fucking baby and show his true self, being a fucking dickhead. So am I mad? Yeah, I'm mad. Of course I'm fucking mad. But this is life. I mean, I've been in so many situations over the years, mostly as a freelancer. Actually, not this freelance job, but like, I mean, geez, 25 years of freelancing. You meet a lot of assholes. Holy shit, you meet a lot of assholes. Like, hey, I got a project for you. Yeah, I'm gonna have you draw me this picture here, right? And see, it's gonna be a video game, but first I'm gonna make T-shirts, and then I'm gonna and blah blah blah. And I'm tell you what, I'm gonna give you a slice of the pie. When we make it big, yeah, you're gonna make a lot of money. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's just blowing smoke. It's just blowing fucking smoke. It's just all manipulation, frankly. Everybody's got a fucking story, and I'm like, hey, I've heard a lot of stories, and I'll listen to yours too, but put the money in my hand, and we'll get started. And if it takes off, it takes off. If not, I got paid. You know, because like, and don't disrespect me, because fuck you. You know what I mean? Like this one thing, I'm a really nice guy. I'm a really, really nice guy. And some kinds of people, narcissistic people especially, they take that instinctively as me saying, go right ahead and shit all over me. And these type of immature, unaware narcissists, that's basically who they are. They're basically just like walking piles of shit. And they don't, that in a sense they can't control themselves. They don't know how to not be a piece of shit. They just are like, oh, you're gonna work for free? All right, I get to shit all over you. I'll just compliment you, and somehow that'll make it all better. Compliments don't pay the bills, baby. You know what I mean? So those are tough lessons to learn over years. One thing I've discovered too is like the more rich a person is, the more of a psychopathic asshole they end up being. The rich people are, and I'm not like anti-capitalist or whatever, but in my freelance experience, it's the rich people that are the biggest fucking douchebags. Somebody fucking explain that to me. I mean, it's like I have all these resources and I can do all these great things. So instead of doing that, I'm gonna be a total dickhead because I enjoy controlling people. Ah, I see. Oh, okay. Wow. Wow. That's who you really are, huh? Interesting. That's your true face, huh? I get it. Okay. So, gotta watch yourself out there, folks. Rexa says, nice is not perfect, kind is. Oh, that's cool. Let's go back, read some chats. With this person, oh yeah, I read that. Rexa says, oh yeah, we were immature at one point. Some are still immature at adulthood, for sure. Adults are just big kids in old bodies. That's all that we are. Those some do need some growing up as well. Need to. Craig says Nick Fuentes instigates and gets his viewers to say things he would never say in spaces. He cares nothing for his viewers. I could go on about that guy. Rexa says Adam Smith's capitalism is fine. I don't know who Adam Smith is, unfortunately, especially since he was the father of capitalism. Libertarianism takes it too far. Okay. It's really just like the stuff I'm talking about is a type of social behavior. I don't know what else to call it. It's people get money and they get a lot of it, and then they just somehow think like, oh, I'm just somehow better than everybody, and I can freely hurt people without consequences. It's sociopathic. But what are you gonna do? I guess that's why it says it's harder for a rich man to enter heaven than for a camel to fit through the eye of a needle. And I'm not against wealth. I really am not. I'm against assholes. You know what I'm saying? It's like, the very simple answer is just like, what would you do if you were in this situation? Would you want someone to treat you like this? And it's just fucking no. But like, how stupid and how much of an asshole do you have to be to not be capable of thinking like that? You get my point? So it's tough. You have to think for them. You literally kind of have to, like, you know, hold them by the hand and say, okay, this is what we're gonna do. Here are the parameters. This is how this works. Blah 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 blah. Oh no, you're great. Oh my God, no, you're great. You're great. Oh no no no, you're awesome. You're awesome. No no, you're great. You're great. You're great. It's like, um, it gets exhausting after a while, to be honest. What are you gonna do? Anyway, it's time for the God Emperor to use his awesome powers against the evil Russian bear, because Russia bad, America good. Anyway, Adam Smith. Oh wow, the conversation dried up. Nick Fuentes. So it's so funny. I have very mixed feelings about Nick. I really, in many ways, I'm a big supporter. And then he turns around and says something like incredibly fucking stupid and immature, like just blatantly immature. It's just too big for his britches. He's too young, too much in his own little egocentric bubble that he can't understand. Like, dude, like when you're older, you're gonna regret having said that, But like it or not, he is the fulcrum of politics right now. He is, and that's a reality that we're living in. I'm very grateful for the pro-white stuff, among other things, for him, you know, mainstreaming the JQ. This is huge. I'm grateful for that. But then taking a shit on like Joel Davis being in prison, it's totally inappropriate behavior and wrong. And I actually posted something online about it earlier, saying like it's not about optics. Everyone's like, oh well, if you're LARPing like a Nazi, what do you expect to happen? And that's not the issue. That is not the issue. Okay, Australian laws are fucking draconian, and to stand up publicly and call it out and say, you know, the Jews run our country, and to blatantly break these laws publicly and go to jail for it, that's called fucking skin in the game. You can sit behind your computer and go, ha ha ha, you're a Nazi LARPer. And that's just low. That shows really, really bad character. Like, there's no character in acting like that. The thing about the sort of Nazi aesthetics or the LARP, I wouldn't call it LARPing, but that whole thing, Patriot Front gets criticized for that, and Fuentes doesn't like Patriot Front. But whatever. I mean, it's like these people are doing things. They're putting their neck on the line. They're making the public aware that we exist, in real life. We're not some idea. We're not some myth, that we're real, and we're standing up for ourselves. And that's that. That's a good thing. What the fuck is wrong with that? Why would you counter signal that? It doesn't make sense. So that's my view on the thing. Take it or leave it. Take it or leave it. Yep. Anyway, this looking pretty good. Let's read. Adam Smith Nick is a plant. So, can you prove that? Can you prove that? Can you prove that? Because I need proof. I'm open to the idea, but I don't currently think that he is. But I'm open to being shown that he is, if you can prove it. Like what you told me about Handsome Truth, I finally figured it out. Like kind of how he operates, what his function is as a Jew, pretending to be white. But I don't see that with Fuentes. I don't. So, and again, hit me up. Show me where I'm wrong. And I have a really close friend. I don't think he's here. He was here earlier. That really doesn't like Nick at all and is very, very outspoken about it. And we have some pretty heated debates on the topic. Critical Review says there's a lot of circumstantial evidence, and we can say the same about Nick. Can you prove he's not a circumstantial? Not the circumstantial evidence. Not a plant is what you're saying. I guess if we're going to look at it like that and use speculation, I would say that from what I can tell, from what I'm aware of, and I don't know everything, but what's in the scope of my view, the evidence towards him not being a plant is stronger than otherwise. So that's all I'm saying. So I will say, like, I'm aware of things like how come he didn't get arrested on J6, and like he was at J6 saying, we need to take back the White House and all this kind of stuff that, people are in jail for saying those kind of things. How come he's not? He was, I forget what it's called, subpoenaed by the feds, and he did testify in federal court about that. So obviously they let him off. So does that mean he's a plant? Or does that mean he's innocent? I mean, it's like, I don't trust the feds, so I can't, it's not, but blah, 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 like how do you know? How do you know? It's very hard to know. I am suspicious of Nick, but I don't really pay attention to him. Well, what's important about Nick right now is how he is affecting the political conversation. So prior to Candace Owens inviting him on and starting the Nick Fuentes pipeline, nobody talked about the JQ. Nobody talked about white identity, white erasure, blah, 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 blah. And when I say nobody, I mean, I'm talking about like Tucker Carlson and mainstream kind of Fox personalities and shit. And now it's all out there. It's all out there. And everybody has to reply. Everybody has to respond to it. And there's very many people doing that. And it's a big deal. Like there's a whole grift off of Nick Fuentes clips. There's new news channels that have like emerged just doing commentary on Nick Fuentes clips. So it's a big deal. It's happening. You know, something is happening there. I urge people to check it out. I urge people to you know, see what he's saying and see where the energy is, because that's the energy. He's got it. You know, he's the one kind of leading the dance, as they might say. And it's not, it really doesn't boil down to like, do you like him or not? That doesn't fucking matter. It's about what is happening. It's about what his commentary is doing to the mainstream, you know, and primarily the win that we're getting by him leading people to talk about the Jewish power. That's a massive fucking win, guys. Massive. So let's move on. I think there's also a problem with us as a movement in that we got a problem with people who are black-pilled and paranoid about every fucking thing. Like we're so terrorized and brutalized that when anything good happens, we're like, oh, no, it's the feds, you know. And that's just, I'm not saying that that's you, Critical Review. I'm saying that because I've had many people act like that with me in several debates over the past couple months. So I have to kind of put that out there, you know. So like, there's some good white pills. Trump just, I don't know how recent this was, but he signed an executive order making English the official language of America. That's you know, I'm not, I know about Trump and Israel and all that, but like that's a win, you know. And even though we got the Trump Israel problem, I should still take the win. You know what I'm saying? Or we should still take the win, you know. So let's read on. I'm paying attention to Russia. Okay. Why haven't they booted him from his platform? We've gotten censored for far less because he makes money for the platform because he's so big. Sure, I'm glad he's being allowed to talk about the Jews, but that doesn't prove he's not a plant. In fact, that is one of the things all the plants had in common. Well, I guess what I would want to see is like, what is the pattern? Let's say, okay, the plant comes out, they talk about the Jews, and then normally they would lead us down the primrose path to a dead end, to the gatekeeping land of la la la. And so that we do nothing, you know. But I don't know how much you're actually listening to Fuentes, but the shit he's saying is hardcore. All Jews, all Muslims out. Out. Like there's a lot of stuff that he says it's really hardcore. So to me, I'm like, no Jewish plant would say that. Like, why? Does this make sense? So one of the strategies or logics of this scenario is to get people to be extremely anti-Semitic so that the Jewish-controlled government can find these people and punish them. So Mao Zedong, in his time in Red China, says, "Oh, we're starting a new policy. Let 1,000 flowers bloom. Everybody, please criticize the Communist Party so that we can improve to help serve the people, the proletariat." And everybody, oh, well, how wonderful! Our great Chairman Mao, our beloved Chairman Mao, has called upon us to criticize the party. So all these great minds came out and wrote down, oh, we could do this better, we could do that better, da da da. And then the next day, all those people got round up, thrown in prison, and shot. So that's a very Jewish thing to do. Of course, Mao had a bunch of Jewish not counselors, or whatever, the advisors that ran the show over there. That's a whole other history. So, do I want to be that conspiratorial in terms of my thinking? Maybe. I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility. Critical Review says, I ran into it so many times that it seems like it's my default. I get where Critical Review is coming from. We've been censored for less, and yet he hasn't been banned recently over tiny hats. It's pretty suspicious. He's innocent until proven guilty. Discernment. How did he get so big? Who funded it? Why are they allowing it? Every single influencer ended up being compromised every single time. So, if you knew Fuentes' story, a lot of this stuff would make sense. He started a show when he was like 18. So he's like 25 now, I think. And, he was, whatever, just trying to do sort of a quick history here. He's really brilliant at talking, clearly. Like, he's super fucking talented at public speaking. Knows a lot about history, politics, blah, blah, blah. So he was in some kind of a public college debate scenario situation where he was shining. And somebody from Daily Wire saw it and contacted Ben Shapiro and said, you got to check out this kid. He's amazingly talented. Now, Fuentes was just regurgitating all of Ben Shapiro's talking points. Like, that's where he was getting his talking points. So they hired him. And now he's like, holy shit, wow, I got a fantastic career ahead of me in politics, working for Daily Wire with Ben Shapiro, and wow, big deal. And so that's how he became well known, right? Okay, got hired by a Jew to work for the Jews, right? So he's on staff, and being a young, innocent, naive, idealist kid, at some point he asks, why are we sending all this money to Israel? That was his undoing. That rolled into a giant snowball that not only got him fired, but Shapiro went full retard and like put him on no-fly lists and got him debanked and like really, 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 really tried to fuck him up. And it did fuck him up. But by doing that, it forged him into the force that he is now. And it forged him into into everything that we have now. So it's a type of like, I've lost everything, and you made the Frankenstein monster that I am, and now I'm coming back for you. So that happened, and I think it's a little wackadoo. It's a little tinfoil hat to think that all of that was a big plan. I can't, assuming that's correct and he's not lying, but I think there's plenty of evidence that all demonstrates that through his history. So this is why I don't feel that way. But I still have, the door is still open a little bit. Has anyone done a deep dive on who? Let's go back. Jew was last name of Israel was advising Mao. A Jew with the last name of Israel was advising Mao. There was a panel of Jews. There was more than one. Yeah, I kind of sound like a fence sitter with Fuentes, but I haven't been paying attention. Has anyone done a deep dive on him, on the Mao's advisor, or on Fuentes? Like Charlie Kirk. That's out of context. I don't know what you're referring to with Kirk. Charlie has in high school when he got started was, yes, come on. Why is it for that? Well, because it's like, maybe it isn't. Maybe it's like, we found somebody in high school who's gifted, and we're going to take years and years and years to groom this guy to become an anti-Semite by bringing him in to Daily Wire and then firing him for authentically asking, why are we sending money to Israel? And then making his life extremely hard and difficult so that he would continue to grow in his anti-Semitism. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. I just don't buy it. I like people like JD Vance or others. You can tell that they were groomed because there's evidence that they were groomed. They went to certain schools. They were funded by certain Jews. They, signed on contracts with other Jews. The blah 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 blah. And there's a really clear paper trail for that. But I don't see any such paper trail with Fuentes. I'm still open to being convinced that I'm wrong. Doesn't that sound familiar to you, Donald? Which one? We'll have to do an email correspondence because it seems to me like you know stuff that I don't know. That's pretty much convincing you of this. But at the moment, I don't have enough evidence. The story of J.D. Vance, Kirk, Fuentes. Let's have a debate on video. I would have a discussion. I don't know that I would have a debate because I don't like. I'm not 100% committed to the idea. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if I had, like, if let me put it. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Like, if I was 1,000% sure that he's innocent, not a plant, as you say, then I could do a debate and then present the evidence. But there's room. There's always room for something because nobody knows everything. But I need evidence. I can't take speculation. I can't take speculation as evidence. You know what I'm saying? It's like these things have happened. There's a propensity for these things to happen. This is the way that our enemies operate. Does that mean it's for sure true? You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't. Am I insane for saying that? Somebody help me here. That's fine too. Yeah, I mean, we can talk about it. I don't want to make a spectacle about it. I don't. To me, I'm not trying to, like, it's a showdown. Like, I'm not trying to have like a fight about it. I know. Like I said, it's a discussion. What's your evidence? When I used to believe, like, oh, Handsome Truth is our guy. And then, like, there was certain video that I saw of him doing really disgusting, inappropriate things, and this and that and the next thing, and I was like, oh, wait a second, this is weird. Um, what I need to know is the motivation. Like, what's the logic behind this thing? Um, how does it work? Like, how does it benefit the Jews that Nick Fuentes is so influential right now? How does it benefit them? And the only answer that I have at the moment is that by making people more openly anti Semitic, they can push for anti Semitism laws, like free speech laws, that will shut down free speech under the guise of, oh, we have to stop anti Semitism. Like, it's like the feds grooming a shooter to go shoot up a supermarket so that the Democrats can try to have like anti-gun laws. You see what I'm saying? Like that logic I get. You know what I'm saying? I could, I can at least buy into that thinking. Let's read. Can't think of one big influencer that has not been found out. No, it would be in good fun. Okay, good. Rexus says, it seems like I and my friends are the only ones who heard that. What's going on with the tiny hats in the Russian Orthodox Church called to expel them? I did see a report on that recently, but I forget the details. Maybe you can fill us in on that. It was a big, big debacle in Russia. It's too bad CG is not here. He's an expert on all that stuff. One of my buddies. I think he was here earlier. All right, what do we got? Yes, that's exactly what they do. Okay. But are they doing it with Fuentes? There's a lot of people out there who are, like Jake Shields, Theo Von something or other. Oh boy, they're just like, sort of like smaller, even Jewish podcasters. Dave Smith, the comedian. I fucking can't remember his fucking name. Greenwald or something. He's got like a great political show. These people are ethnically Jewish, but they're like completely unflinchingly accepting of everything Fuentes has to say. And I think maybe from your perspective, you'd be like, of course they are because they're part of it all. But I see it like, how could they be, how could they support a guy that is, exposing Jewish hegemony and calling on racial awakening of whites and all this? This is the greatest fear that Jews have. That's what the whole fucking fake Holocaust narrative is about. Is silencing us so that, you know, we don't revolt against them and figure them out. Um, um, Bobby Fischer was the real deal. There you go. So there's Sandas. What is Sandas? Shandas. I don't know what a Shanda is. Bobby Fischer. Yeah. I just saw like an interview with him when he was old. And he was just The guy's like one of the highest IQ people of his generation, and he was outspoken, you know. But that was a time when nobody talked about the Jews seriously. You know, there was no real, I don't think there was any kind of, you know, you could have controversial opinions, but they had no impact. Do they have impact now? That's a good question. You know, are we getting anywhere? You know, is it enough just to name them? You know what I mean? I think yes. I think yes, because the younger generations, they're done. Like they're checked out. They don't care. As the world falls apart and they have nothing to stop them from revolting, they're the ones that are gonna probably lead the revolution, I would say. Excuse me. Shonda means tiny hat who makes other tiny hats look bad, but in this case, these tiny hats have actual moral code, but considered traitors by their own moral code. So let's take Dave Smith, for example. He's a comedian turned political podcaster. You'd recognize his face. He's been on all kinds of big, top level shows, CNN, Fox, whatever. And he's a staunch defender of Nick Fuentes, even though he doesn't agree with everything Fuentes says. Even though, I mean, he doesn't even bring up the Jew thing very much. That's not even a thing for him, which opens up a whole new can of worms, which is it genetic or is it ideological, religious, religio ideology? Some people would argue it's genetic, you know. But then you can say, oh well, if that's true, then 91% of Jews are Ashkenazi, which are like Eastern European Turkic. You know, so like that kind of blows a hole through that. You know, from my opinion is that it's ideological. Like if you took a Jewish baby and raised him or her in a white family, never ever telling the kid that he's adopted or even Jewish, they'll have a high IQ like a Jew would, you know, but will they genetically behave in exactly the same patterns? Will they, you know, like do blood libel and I doubt it. I highly doubt it. You know, I highly doubt it. And they can even pass for white in many cases, or Italian or something, you know. So, and a case in point are all the Chinese children that have been adopted by white families. They're ethnically, biologically Chinese, but culturally, intellectually, psychologically white. And we probably don't want to say that in this movement of white purity, but it's a kind of truth. It's a kind of truth, you know. Anyway, some members of the tribe went to Khazaria thousands of years ago. Well, I don't know anything about that particular history, and I, you know, that may be true. That's just another topic, I guess. Another rabbit hole. But yeah, I mean, critical review. I want to be challenged on this. I want to be put in a situation where I'm like, shit, I don't have an answer for that. And like, wow, you broke me out of my spell. You know, I mean, if you're in the far right, you're used to that. You know, that's kind of what we do. You know what I mean? Is like we red pill ourselves and each other. You know, we research shit because we want to know the truth, and then we get to the truth, and then it's like, and then it, you know, the truth shall set you free, as they say, So it's not like I don't have like some kind of ego investment where I'm like, no, I'm right. I'm gonna have a little baby temper tantrum if I'm wrong. Instead, it's like let's find the truth. All right, but yeah, that's true. There's also ideological element, but it is the exception throughout most of history. They're tribal, and yes, it's in their genetics. So, like I said, some people believe that. Some members of the tribe went to Kazaza. I guess what how do I put this? It seems to me believable or logical that one could say that identity is made of two things. And one is genetics, your DNA, and the other is culture. And that meaning everything to do with that, the family you were brought up in, the 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 town, the country, all of it, those things will form who you are collectively. Um, Quite honestly, like put yourself in that situation. You're adopted. You're sent to China, and you grow up in China. Now even that's a little. Let's not even go that far. You get adopted by a Russian family, and you grow up in Russia. So let's say maybe you're ethnically Irish, but do you have any Irish or American Irish or any American aspects about you whatsoever? No, of course not. Now, granted, American's not an ethnicity, so that's not a good example. But as far as I can tell, this is how this is how I look at the world. There's no tests on such things. Like I don't think there's any, or are there? That would be an interesting thing to know. If there were actual test results that, like, I don't know, just like, for example, Chinese kids brought up in white families still act like Chinese people in China. That'd be shocking. That'd be pretty shocking, and I would have to say I was wrong. Which is fine. I can say I was wrong, but I would need to see a little statistical data to really believe that. Um, what do we got in the chat? The book, and it's what are we talking about? That's true. There's also an ideological. I read that. The book and its audiobook, 200 Years Together, Alexander Solzhenitsyn. However you spell his name, yeah, that's not an easy name to spell. Personality is directly related to genetics. Personality is, but ideology is not. Okay, so, you might have a Jewish kid raised in a white family, and his personality is determined by his DNA, whatever that personality might be. dweeby or whatever it is, or funny, or who knows what. But do you understand that ideology and personality aren't the same thing, right? And when I say ideology, I'm talking about Judaism. Judaism, to me, is just an ideology. Like Islam is an ideology. I don't think of those as religions. If your God tells you to enslave and rape and kill people, your God is the devil. Let's do the math, folks. You know what I'm saying? Not that hard to understand. It's too hard to text this. We should do a discussion. True. Yeah, that's true. We can. Oh, I want to get you on my show. Well, let me put it this way. I need to test out. Excuse me. I need to test out streaming while playing media, and so I just it's a test show. So like, why don't we do that where you can come on, we can continue this discussion, and then I'll just play various media while we're talking and stuff. The question is, when can we do this? I got a big day tomorrow. Maybe Friday night. Could we maybe do this Friday night? I don't know what time zone you're in. No. Oh shoot. Ah crap. Damn it! I hit the wrong button. I wanted to show that comment, but I fucking hit the wrong button. Sounds good. Yeah, you're right. The Talmud says a lot of sick shit. I think we all know that. So it was okay. Sounds good. So Friday night, like I'm on the East Coast. Is that a good? Is that your central? Let's see. Let's figure like say maybe 7 o'clock. My time is 6 your time. Is that true? Hello? I think that's true. Oh, yeah, I think that's true. We're gonna have to do this by email. Like, let's just like shoot me an email tonight, and then I can correspond with you, and I'll be able to send you the show link, and we'll just have a convo. I just don't get mad at me if I don't agree with you, okay? Because I love you, and I don't want you to be mad at me, okay? That'll really make me sad. I've been under a lot of stress lately, so. I have some friends. They're younger guys. They're in like their late. Well, they're in their 20s, and whenever any kind of debate like this happens, they're absolutely vicious. They're fucking vicious. Like they will insult the fuck out of you. They say like the meanest things, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like I didn't grow up in a culture like that. I don't do that. I don't do insults, especially if you say you're my fucking friend, and then you turn around and you like attack me. It's like that's not what friends do. Don't fucking do that. I know you're not gonna do that. I'm talking about like people in their 20s that have that like Nick Fuentes culture. That it's what I would call gamer culture. It's like people who play video games are really, really, really rude to each other when they play their games. They're online with total strangers. There's no accountability at all, and it's just a culture of cruelty. It's weird. Anyway, this is how good conversation should be: respectful, and it's okay to disagree. Yeah, I felt with those people before. It's awful. I almost lost a friend over it, to be honest. Good, sounds good. Got to sleep. No worries. Yeah, I should hit the sack myself. All right, it's almost 11. Let's wrap it up, guys. All right. I hope that wasn't a bad show. It got better. Anyway, we're going to say good night to you and wish you sweet dreams. And we shall see you on the next show. Have a good night. Sayonara.